Welcome, Collective. This is Regina from Pacific Tarot doing an all signs reading for you. It is a very stormy spring day where I am, and I have been meditating on sort of where we are at collectively and where we are finding ourselves trying to find our space as individuals. And I pulled a couple of archetypes from the archetype deck, and I pulled Fault Line as the first card, and I pulled the Storm. So I actually pulled the Storm first, but I read about the Fault Line first, and that felt, if you could consider this a sort of causal relationship, I at least sense there is one between these two energies. So I'm going to read it from the Fault Line, from the guidebook first, just to situate us in the wisdom of the author, Kim Krans. And it begins, imagine walking across a frozen lake that begins to crack before your eyes. No matter how optimistic and brave you might be, panic ensues. You become fearful and tense and long for stable ground. Such is the energy of the fault line. It's the energy of walking on eggshells, of precarious dynamics, of sensing what is ready to break open into chaos. It's likely this cracking open is overdue as fault lines develop slowly and naturally from underlying elemental pressures. This card comes as a potent warning not to deny the shakiness that's afoot. It's much better to prepare yourself for change than to walk along the fault line pretending all is well. There's no easy fix for the situation at hand. It will require a foundational shift that alters the current dynamics from the ground up. And there is a note. It is possible that something a beloved one said caused a crack in your relationship that has never been mended. Revisit it. The time to heal is nigh. This I'm taking very literally as our relationship to the earth and upon the earth. And I do feel that the earth is talking to us regularly through the very unpredictable weather we're all experiencing, no matter where we are. I feel relatively protected here on the coast, but it has been extreme at any event. And the idea that this is pressure that has been building. I believe I mentioned last week that I felt an earthquake. It was a sizable one, but apparently I wasn't that close to the fault line. The idea is that the earth is absorbing the pressures, the increasing pressures we're putting upon it, and it is responding. The planet is responding. This is larger than our locations, our countries, our regions. This is the whole globe in unison responding to the pressures that are upon her. This obviously can relate to our social environment as well, where things are falling apart, things are being pulled out from underneath us, things we have expected and relied upon are pulled away, and there is little to nothing in its place. Even those institutions or social structures that remain are not serving their social good. So this is something that is a more of a paradigm shift in each social environment where we are located on the earth. By a paradigm shift, I mean our investment in beliefs, practices, expectations are all corroded. And as a result of that, there is a lot of building to do. And the next card I pulled out was the Storm, which is interesting. It is the card right before it. And I actually pulled out the Storm first. So it proceeds the fault line. And I'll read about that as well. Well, I was going to. Let me find it. Yeah, here we go. Other names for the storm are the chaos, the whirlwind, the disorder. Possessing an energy much like the Tarot's Tower card, the storm undoes all that is. Everything that was solid, known, and relied upon is stripped away by the winds of fate. The ground becomes the sky becomes the center, and then the center disappears. The storm is a great equalizer no matter how far we've come on the path, no matter our age, wealth, poverty, or wisdom. We can't hide from its savage winds. Their disturbing howls stir anxiety and make it impossible to see and think straight. You must wait it out. If you try to fight the storm, you will lose. A better option is to seek temporary shelter and a reliable friend. When all else fails, go within. There, for a moment, you settle into the eye of the storm. And the note here mentions the storm's intention is to rebalance your equilibrium. It is the result of precarious conditions, not the cause of them. So this is very much, I do believe, almost us as individuals, as a social whole, as a collective, interacting with the shifts, the seismic shifts that are occurring in our world. And the idea that for many of us, many of you that I'm speaking to, are finding yourself occasionally in the blink of an eye at the center of the storm. Embodying the swirling changes, the multiplicity of experiences and sensations, the evaporation of old measures and values, and yet there is a consistent quality that is being purified throughout this experience. The winds, the rain, all feel like a giant purification of some sort. So I'm going to read the past, the present, past, and future, and I'll do some clarifiers. I initially pulled a Soul's Journey card for myself as the reader, and possibly for many of you as my viewers, and the card I pulled was Purpose. I know what I am here to do. And I do believe that much of this temporal catastrophe, crisis, um, uh, incredible storm and seismic uh, energy that is swirling around us is revealing for many of us our purpose. It's stripping away all of the excess, the fluff, and allowing us to be clear about why we actually chose to be here and why we choose to stay. And so for the present, I pulled the Lady of Jades in this deck. In traditional decks, it's the Queen of Pentacles. And this is a beautiful sort of fulcrum to, or a weight to this pendulum, I feel, is pictured here. This grounded, rooted energy of, in many ways, the worker bee, the mother, nurturing figure who supports, who does the work behind the metaphorical king, who gives out instructions and commands, but it is the queen who does the work. She's the one who manages the action that goes on to support the presence of the king. That's a very traditional way of looking at it. For many of us who are not royal, who are not in a relationship, the Lady of Jades really refers to our own ability to nurture our power and sustain our abundance, to manifest the abundance from what materials we have around us, and to do that in a methodical, consistent way that is attuned to natural rhythms, the needs and desires of those around us, so that we are in the best place to support that. The goal being that everyone works together to keep the community, the collective, the home base strong. This is very much focused on production and nurturance, feeding the fold. And for you as an individual, this is also about doing the work. No matter what the weather is, we still have to be fed. No matter what the climate, we still have to take care of each other, take care of ourselves, be productive, uh, continue to build, create, work, plan, uh, and share with one another. And I do feel that this energy is describing that. Being here to do the work, rain or shine, consistently, productively, always with a view and a capacity for not only nurturance and care, but to receive love, to receive nurturance, to receive the reward, the harvest of what it is you create. In the past, the Nine of Jades, and this is speaking in a similar vein. The Nine of Pentacles of Jades is talking about our independence. Wherever we are in our social environments, in our collectives, in our families, in our relationships, many of us are collecting or considering our independence, recognizing that that is where the place from where we can decide what's right for us. We can do what is best for us, considering the consistent investment we've made in ourselves, in our skills, in our interests, in our manifestations, in our dreams. This also means that this consistent investment has netted you an excess that allows you to invest in those things that are aligned with your purpose so that you can enjoy not only your labors, but the labors of others. You can support that through your own labor. This is really beautiful energy, and this is really never losing sight of the fact that you are a unique contributor in a larger collective. I believe that this energy is not necessarily overtaken by the collective, nor does the individual overtake the collective. It's part of a spectrum, or a continuum rather. They work together in a dynamic relationship. So this is not losing sight of your unique contribution to the whole. And in the future, the Ten of Swords. And this really is taking us back to, I believe, how we have prepared and participated in this storm, this shift that we're experiencing, this planetary shift. Astrologically, there are numerous factors that talk about a reset in preparation for a new year with the new moon in Aries upcoming. And this is about having washed away, release the old. So here I'm finding there is a real divestment from old values. We see some of that in the protests that we experience in the world. We see a lot of that in our own understanding that it isn't enough to reject a set of beliefs. It is just as important, if not more important, to replace those with an alternative, with something that is more inclusive, that assures the security and abundance of all. This is based on a radical premise that is anti-capital, that there is enough for all, that the myth of constant growth is just a myth that fuels the desperation that the media tells us is necessary in our eternal consumption and discard. That consumption doesn't feed us. And this is part of what we are looking to replace, this wasteful, excessive culture of wealth, individual wealth, the celebration of a very minor portion of the uh, the social strata, the social order that consumes the vast majority of resources, leaving very little for the vast majority of people. And it isn't just confined to our region. This is a worldwide phenomenon that many of our big corporate executives have planned and are fostering. The disappearance of poor people, of people of color. Uh, this is part of getting rid of people that have needs and turning the world, Gaza, into a resort, a playground for the wealthy of the planet Mars. So I do feel that this card is meant to pull us up and recognize that this is a larger inquiry. We don't necessarily have all the answers regarding what is replacing what we currently have. It is a process. It's a fundamental, foundational process. However, it requires our intellectual inquiry. It requires our curiosity. It requires our open-mindedness, our ability to explore, discover, study, research, and to use the vast resources of the technological advances, not to control what people buy or to tell them that they need to buy more, to increase their dependence on tools, phones, computers, technology, but to do the work of study, research, and collecting data so we can understand ourselves and our needs better. I'm going to clarify. I'll start with the past, the Nine of Jades. Just a couple cards, please. The Emperor is one card. Is that one? And one more, please. The Star. Beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and continue to pull cards for the Lady of Jades in the present. Two came out, the Ace of Wands and the Four of Wands. Beautiful. And in the future, the Ten of Swords, we have the Five of Swords and one more, the Seven of Cups. So we're coming, this independence has been earned, hard earned, through our experiences, manifesting, shaping our realities, taking responsibility for our realities, harnessed to a vision, a dream of something better, of the ability to be better. Never losing sight of the fact that we make choices about what we allow and what we become in the world. So the Emperor is that seasoned, experienced, strategic thinker, leader who invests in those under his jurisdiction. It is the part of you that doesn't try to control the things that you cannot control, the weather, but rather looks to control yourself in the way that you begin to consume resources of the earth with a mindfulness to being able to sustain that, to minimizing your carbon footprint, to investing in alternative energy sources. This is about the way we can control ourselves as people, how we recycle, reuse materials, and how we invest in that as part of not only creating new industries that will employ people all over the world, but will continue to improve upon the environment and the opportunities for people in a variety of places, including our own, of course. So this is a very quick gloss. It's not meant to be particularly political, but it is meant to point us, to locate us in the political moment, the social moment that cannot be ignored, and that we are in and that we impact. This feels like it is a very calm response to towards solutions to a social environment that we are told just is the way it is, can't be changed, can't do anything about it. We might as well make a lot of money and all fly to Mars together. So this is countering that. That is far from the truth. We are invested increasingly in ancient forms of wisdom and healing, information that was known, practices that were known that worked as part of the renewal of the earth, the healing of the earth. And that is also translatable on the individual level to our own healing modalities, planting gardens, using herbs, and any variety of ways that we share, living in communities, cooperatives, so that we are amplifying what we have together. In the present, the Lady of Jades is clarified by the Ace of Wands and the Four of Wands. This is clearly about, in this moment, building those new structures. This is literally the new moon in Aries. The Ace of Wands is about harnessing that spiritual energy, that deep desire to grow, to expand in a natural, collective, collaborative way, a way that celebrates the way we can grow. And that growing means developing alternatives to what we have, and encouraging that among our neighbors, supporting that among our neighbors, our colleagues, our family, our friends, doing that with a holistic, collective goal in mind, so that we recognize that what we create together generates abundance. And that is the purpose and the design. We're moving through a portal where we are creating a foundation that is about growth, organic growth, people growth, cultural growth, not economic growth that pushes us to buy more and pay more. And in the future, the Ten of Swords. Wow. It's a lot of difficult energy, and I'm sure that most of us are aware. It's interesting because I do believe that there are a range of responses from a variety of people. Some are very distressed, dismayed, uh, desolate, in despair about the conditions, overwhelmed by the ease of consumption that is at our fingertips all day, every day, our dependence upon having lots of options and choices that are just a button push away. What this really does serve is the instilling doubt in who we are and what we need. If we never come into the center of ourselves, which is at the center of the storm we're undergoing, the shifts we're experiencing, then we're always looking to what someone else says about what that is, what that means, what that creates for us, instead of recognizing that others' judgments of our largely insufficiencies is not a truth. It's not anyone's truth. That can be motivated by any number of reasons why someone would dismiss your effort, your good idea, not wanting to try, not wanting to give up something that they've become used to, familiar, or habit with. And this is you recognizing that no matter what other people say, you have a good idea. Your idea is worthy of being tried. And that is one of the powers and beauties of this new moon in Aries. Aries is going to try. The ram butts his head over and over again. This is actually a beautiful quality. And this is what the same the same persistence, the unwillingness to give up is what we need more of. And of course, this overwhelm of things is also something we need to wean ourselves off from. All the things that really aren't just so much disposable plastic, things being made cheaper, not better, and the overwhelm of objects that we have, even in the humblest home where I live, is a wealth of stuff that much of which many of us don't even want anymore, can't use, are trying to give away, as opposed to our pursuing that real ideal, that purpose, that service, that beautiful thing we want to create. Following, pursuing our dreams, our desires, that's what we are being asked to invest in, not the illusion of more stuff, and therefore holding on to some kind of certainty in the world, but the pursuit of creative advancement, creative growth, collective growth, building things together, being of service to one another, to the world. I am going to finish up this reading with a flower oracle and hope that this has been useful or helpful. And I pulled the gardenia, the lovely gardenia, right? I think of Billie Holiday, who loved to wear gardenias in her hair as she sang her very sad, often songs. The key word is awareness. Wake up, roll the clouds away, and look. Well, I think that says it all. Thank you so much. If you've resonated with any of this video, please like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel, Pacific Tarot. Until next time, namaste.